For any multinational company, you know that securing your top leaders in the U.S. is way more than just paperwork. It's a critical business strategy. Today, we're going to break down one of the most direct pathways to turn a temporary executive transfer into permanent U.S. stability. Let's jump right in.
So this is really the core question, isn't it? You've brought a key executive or manager over to your U.S. office. They're absolutely vital. Their knowledge of the company is just irreplaceable. But here's the thing. Their temporary visa has a ticking clock. So how do you get from that temporary fix to a permanent solution? Something that guarantees you can keep things running smoothly for years to come. That's exactly what we're going to cover.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the leadership dilemma, then look at the direct path to permanence with the EB-1C. We'll see how the L1A visa fits in, cover all the qualifications, and finally walk through the actual pathway to getting that green card.
Okay, let's start with that central challenge, temporary work visas. They're great for getting talent to the country, no doubt, but they come with this constant cycle of renewals and, frankly, a lot of uncertainty. If you're building a long-term strategy for your company, you need your leadership focused on growth, not worrying about their immigration status. The real goal here is to bridge that gap from temporary to permanent.
And the answer, the solution, is the EB-1C green card. Now, the key phrase you need to hear is first preference. In the whole world of employment-based green cards, this is the absolute top tier. It literally puts these folks at the front of the line because the category was specifically designed to help the U.S. retain high-level leadership talent.
So what's so great about this direct path? Well, because it's reserved for that top-tier talent, the U.S. government has actually built in some pretty remarkable efficiencies. They recognize that these leaders are really in a class of their own.
And here it is, the single biggest advantage of the EB-1C pathway. It completely bypasses the perm labor certification process. Now, for anyone who has ever dealt with U.S. immigration, you know this is a massive shortcut. We're talking about saving an incredible amount of time, money, and just uncertainty. So what exactly is perm? Well, it's this really complex process where a company has to go out and advertise a job, interview candidates, and basically prove to the Department of Labor that there are 0 qualified, willing, and able U.S. workers for that specific role. It can take a year, sometimes more. The EB-1C lets you skip that whole headache. This quote really gets to the heart of why you get to skip perm. The government is essentially saying, look, it's impossible to test the U.S. labor market for someone who has years of experience inside your specific global organization. Their institutional knowledge is one of a kind, and you just can't find that by placing a job ad.
Okay, so if the EB-1C green card is the destination, what's the most common starting point? For a lot of people, it's the L1A temporary visa. And here's why. The requirements for the L1A and the EB-1C are so similar that the L1A acts as this perfect stepping stone, creating a really seamless transition from temporary to permanent.
The legal magic that makes this all possible is something called dual intent. See, with a lot of temporary visas, if you even think about applying for a green card, it can put your current status at risk. But the L1A is different. It explicitly allows you to have 2 intentions at the same time, the intent to stay temporarily on your visa and the intent to stay permanently by going after a green card. This is an absolutely crucial legal protection.
This little table lays out the key differences really well. The L1A is temporary, right? Capped at 7 years. The EB-1C is permanent. But check out that third row. You can use an L1A to set up a brand new U.S. office. To get the EB-1C green card, though, that office has to have been up and running for at least 1 year. So this creates a really natural timeline. Use the L1A to get things launched, and then once you're established, you can transition to the EB-1C.
Now, I've been saying this path is streamlined, but let me be clear, it is not easy. The eligibility requirements are incredibly strict, and U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, that's USCIS, they scrutinize every single detail to make sure only genuine, high-level leaders qualify.
First up, the employer. There has to be a clear, provable corporate connection between the U.S. company and the foreign one. Think parent subsidiary, that kind of thing. Both companies have to be actively doing business, not just existing on paper. And, like we just saw, the U.S. operation needs a track record of at least 1 year before it can petition for a permanent employee.
And for the employee, the rules are just as specific. You need at least 1 year of high-level work experience with the foreign company within the last 3 years. And this is crucial. Both your job abroad and your new U.S. job must be managerial or executive. Your seniority has to stay consistent. And remember, you can't do this on your own. Your U.S. employer has to be the one to sponsor you.
Okay, so what do executive and managerial actually mean? Because these are legal definitions, not just job titles you can slap on a business card. An executive is someone who directs the organization, establishes goals and policies, and has a whole lot of freedom in decision-making. A manager, on the other hand, is in charge of a department or key function or supervises other professional staff. You can't just be a first-line supervisor of non-professional staff. USCIS is going to analyze your day-to-day duties, not just your title.
So, after you jump through all those rigorous hoops, what's the payoff? Well, the success rate for making that leap from a qualifying L1A to an EB1C green card is incredibly high. We're talking over 96%. So this isn't some long shot. For the right candidate, it is one of the most reliable pathways to permanent residency you can find.
All right, last section. Let's map out the actual application process. We're going to break it down into its core pieces, from that first petition all the way to holding that green card.
The whole process really boils down to two key steps. First, your employer files the I-140 petition. That's the big one that lays out all the evidence proving that both the company and you qualify. Once that's approved, then you, the employee, file the I-485 to officially adjust your status and become a lawful permanent resident.
So how long does all this take? Generally, you're looking at about 1 to 2 years from start to finish. But here's a little pro tip for you. That first step, the I-140 petition, offers optional premium processing. For an extra fee, you can get a decision in 45 days or less, which can really speed up that critical first stage.
And finally, just a few crucial things to keep in mind. First, this amazing benefit extends to your immediate family. Your spouse and unmarried kids under 21 can get green cards too. Second, if you're from a country with high demand, especially India and China, you might face some backlogs because of annual limits, and that can add extra wait time. And last, there's a bit of flexibility. After your adjustment of status application has been pending for 6 months, you might be able to change employers, as long as the new job is in a similar role. So, as we wrap up, it's pretty clear the L1A to EB1C pathway is so much more than just an immigration process. It's a powerful, strategic tool for multinational companies to really invest in their most valuable asset, their leadership. It's about building a stable, permanent foundation for success in the United States. So the real question isn't just can you do it, but what will it unlock for your business when you do?